Now, of course, we're going to do that in 7 days, but it's funny, Kamala Harris sometimes gives us a little bit of help along the way, and that's what's so interesting is, you know, the media says that she only does softball interviews, right? So she'll do an occasional interview with a tough journalist, like one or two, over the course of the whole campaign, but she only mostly does softball interviews, and I know we got a lot of baseball fans in the room, and the problem with a softball interview is you've still got to be able to hit a softball. And I don't know that Kamala Harris could hit a T-ball based on what we've seen from some of these interviews. Because, again, she is trying to run away in her scripted speeches as far away from the record of the last 4 years as possible. She's trying to pretend that she's the change candidate, even though we know she's the candidate of more of the same broken policies. And yet a couple weeks ago, she gave an interview on The View. And in that interview, she kind of admitted that she's been lying to the American people for the past 3 months. Now, you will never hear me complain about running for Vice President of the United States. It is the great honor of my life to stand here in this beautiful facility in front of all of you and to ask you to make me your next Vice President. That's an incredible thing, and we're thrilled about it. And I'm having fun. Thank you. I love you too. Ladies, beautiful. Thank you all. Well, look, here's the one complaint that I'll make is that sometimes, as an act of public service, I will watch Kamala Harris on programs like The View so that you don't have to. It's what I'm willing to do. This is a life of service that I've chosen. And a couple weeks ago, she gave an interview that I think really actually blew up her entire campaign. Because the interviewer said, "What would you have done differently over the last 4 years?" And Kamala Harris says, "Well, nothing comes to mind." Now think about this. She's been running away for the last 4 years, her entire campaign, but in one 15-minute segment, she said nothing comes to mind that she would do differently from Joe Biden. Now, I will say, in her defense, that could very well be the slogan of the Harris-Walz campaign. Harris-Walz, nothing comes to mind, because when she... But we know that when Kamala Harris says she's going to fix the border, and you actually ask her, well, how are you going to fix the border? She'll say, well, nothing comes to mind, right? We know that our fellow citizens are struggling to buy groceries, struggling to put food on the table, struggling to afford housing. What is Kamala Harris's answer to those problems? Nothing comes to mind. And this is true of nearly every problem we're confronting as a country, and we can laugh and we can have a good time. And by the way, I think that we're having a lot more fun on the Trump campaign than the Harris campaign is having right now. But we're also talking about some very deadly serious business, because unless we give the American people a leader who is fit to serve this great nation, I believe that the American dream is going to become more and more out of reach. And that's ultimately what this election is about.